money in a world of total insanity. Let's welcome Tony D'Angelo.
All right, he's become a internet sensation and a radio superstar, and we're lucky to have him. Tony D'Angelo joins us each and every Tuesday to chat about life, the world of politics, and everything in between. You can follow Tony on Twitter. It's a great follow, at Tony D'Angelo7 on Twitter. Tony, good morning, my friend. How are you?
Good morning, Lee Elci, and proud to be among everybody. You know, I loved your opening. There's too many people that blame them, that blame the world for what has happened to them. If only, if only, if only. You know, and I'm back to reading my old Robert Schuller book, and there's a saying that popped up the other day: if it's going to be, it's up to me. You know, it's up to you. It's up to me. What are we going to do? And that's what makes the world better. You know, there's always a way to do something better. And I encourage you. I encourage me. I encourage everybody. You know, think of things greater than yourself. You know, call me. We were talking about that a moment ago. Brainstorm. Think about different possibilities, because we just get locked in these awful ruts with this, you know, rotten world and this political system, and you know, living under economic oppression and social oppression in this state. But you know, again, tough. You know, back to Robert Schuller: tough times never last, but tough people do. Yeah. So that's my thought for today. I encourage you. I encourage everyone.
I appreciate that very much, and those are some great words. And you know, I was kind of rambling, and it was off the top of my head. It's just little things. Sometimes little things in life can go a long way. If you know, you feel like you're stuck in some kind of a rut, I don't know, go join it. You can. I forgot to mention, go join a charity. Go, you know, walk dogs on a dog adoption event, or bring food to. You know what I mean? It could be little things that elevate you. You don't have to necessarily move a boulder up a hill and change the world. You can do little things to make yourself feel better.
The smallest things in your life can change the entire course of everything.
I agree.
You know, and that's we look for a bolt from the blue.
Yeah,
you know, it could be somebody leaving a college catalog on a sofa. That's what happened to me.
Is that right?
Or me moving to a town that I now live in a home I now live in, because I blindfolded myself and said, with Jean, my first late wife, where are we going to go on our honeymoon?
Is that right?
Pomfret, Connecticut. I mean, that's the way it is. It's not some, you're looking for the heavens to open up. It doesn't work that way.
That's pretty amazing.
I'm sorry to disappoint you.
I didn't know that's how you got to Pomfret. That's
it's amazing. I could bore you with like 30 minutes of that kind of stuff.
We're gonna have to hear that story. We're gonna have to hear that story down the road for sure.
Yeah, maybe we'll have a segment. You know, ask Tony anything, and just it could be very interesting.
Right,
I may not be able to show my face in this radio station again, but it's not okay. But we'd have some fun.
All right, listen. I know you got a couple things you want to get to, and
yeah, we're going to go from the hopeful to the gutter.
All right.
I've got some troubling subjects today, but and I was lying there in bed thinking, you know, can I really say this stuff? Because it's just, to me, it's just so wretched and so horrible. But you know, let it go out. Base your own conclusions upon what's there. Check me out as if, you know, as being factual. On June 15th. A state representative, her name is Jillian Gilchrist, went entirely off on Bob Stefanowski about inviting the governor of Nebraska for a fundraising event and later canceling. And it was this whole thing of, you know, well, it shows you the heart of this terrible, out-of-touch extremist man who defends the rights of white men. Now, the way white men is not used like, you know, blue car or red cherry. It's white men. It's this pejorative term. All white men are evil. I take offense to that. I am a white man. I am not evil. And to watch this video clip, to me, was something akin to watching either Lord of the Flies or some really bad George Romero movie where these zombie-like people are behind her as she's just spewing hate, really, and it was terrible. Now, you know me. And, you know, I'm always very clear on two things. I'm a conservative independent voter, and when the state Republican Party does something wrong, in my estimation, I don't want to be disrespectful, but I speak up. I speak up here. I speak up on Twitter. I speak up on conversation. I've been here too long to see the damages that have done. And, number one, it troubled me because I find Bob Stefanowski to be a lovely man who's none of that other stuff. But the backlash reaction to this that I ran into, to me, was both instructive, Lee Elci, and it was troubling. A number of people, I picked up on this on Sunday morning. I'm in a very active group with some wonderful, devoutly Republican people that want to see good and done right. They were horrified, and they're like, "What? We're not going to hit back? This is terrible." And it wasn't the thing of vengeance, as such, but the state Democrat Party has this thing of, Bob Duff or Kevin Coughlin, or in this case, Julian Gilchrist, have come out with the most vile, disgusting, and unaccountable things. And, at that point, to me, if it's any organization, if if your warriors are off the reservation, it's up for the person who is at the head of something to say, no, we don't condone that behavior. That's not who we are. Ned never says a word. Looney never says a word. And these people are like, well, could we at least come out and say, hey, Ned Lamont, raise the bar a little bit and stop these garbage attacks. I mean, Lee Elci, I don't have a dog in this fight. Again, I'm a conservative independent voter, but, I don't think this is just a really sad and sick and troubling indictment. And I'm almost bearing my soul here like I need counseling. But that's my first subject. It really was a bad thing to look at.
That's just isn't politics, though. That's just, it is. That's it in a nutshell, isn't it?
Well, it is, but yet, go back, if you will, to McCain and Obama. And when, even though the older lady came to McCain and she said, "I don't trust this guy. He's an Arab. He's evil." And McCain, whom I think was misguided, said, "No, I'm not going to go there. That's not a debate or a discussion we're going to have." Now, you can go through the historical significance of that, but he wasn't, to the man's credit, he wasn't going to jump in the gutter. I mean, it's number one to jump in the gutter. It's a number two to say, stop beating me up. It's like the kid walking home from school every day, getting clobbered with a sack of books, who at least doesn't say, hey, stop beating me up. I don't like it. It is, but it's terrible, and it's indicative, and it's just, people were very troubled watching this, and they were equally as troubled by the non-acknowledgement of it. And I know the attitude of some, which is like, just a bunch of nut jobs on Twitter. People, you're going to need these people to vote for you if you think you're going to win. I mean, they're people and they have a vote. Call them whatever you want, but that unfortunately is true.
Well, do you think we're worse as a society? Because look at the way Trump treated the opponents he was going against.
It was terrible.
Yeah, exactly. And then look how he was celebrated for that, as if it was some kind of a new thing that was wonderful, calling, little Marco Rubio, and then this, that, and then when somebody decided to take a shot at him with the small hands, it became this free for all of garbage, right? And but America, there's a chunk of America that embraced that, which is, that's not where we want to go, right?
No, it's not. And the thing is, we need adults. We need credibility. I mean, we can disagree and we can assail policy, but when it starts to get into this personal garbage. Now, Bob Stefanowski has the right as an American to invite anybody he wants. I may like it, I may not like it, or whatever the case may be. And if you don't like it, you turn away, or you say, I don't agree with the policy. But yet, to make this thing into this fear thing with really these zombie-like people that were behind you. I mean, and my first thought, Lee Elci, was, you really think poor zombie-like people that this person spewing hate is going to, has any, value in just spewing it? What about all the trouble we have in the state? What about the economic ruin? What about the fraud? Anybody talking about that? If you deal with that, maybe you got something. I mean, at this point, I would vote for a gorilla who deals with those things. Right. But it's like, I'm lost. I really am lost.
Yeah, politics is nasty and dirty and ugly, and you're right on all accounts on that case. Again, Tony D'Angelo is our guest. We chat with him each and every Tuesday. A follow on Twitter is a must for him. Tony D'Angelo 7. All right, I could talk about that with you all day because that's a pet peeve of mine.
All day long.
But I know
we can move down the list a little bit. More in the continuing saga. I guess in this case of the gutter. Do you realize, and very few people do, unless you're watching this bouncing ball, another $4.5 million since the last time we spoke on these golden airwaves went to Semaphore for the ostensible whole genome sequencing, and it's. Watching this, it's like, well, okay, there's a little bit of a forest fire, but now we're going to, burn down the whole town. And, it's apparently another make the rent exercise. But Bob Swick had another article on it, which I thought was incredible. I'll try to post that on the screen, on the stream. And at this point, I'm just thinking, what I've done, let me just qualify this, is I've shown this, I've tweeted this to the Republican Party saying, you guys going to do anything about it? You going to say anything about it? I mean, if you want to govern, to me, the two fundamental things in government are the protection of citizens and the hemorrhaging of cash. Government should at least do that, right? Government's trying to do a whole bunch of other stuff, and it's a disaster and a horrible money waste. But, it's like, what is the big hush-hush? What is the big cover-up? Why is it in this state, and this is, I speak for one who's been here years and years and years, who's run a business for years and years and years, when there's almost this reverence for a state agency, or almost this reverence for a state nonprofit, where nobody's like, hey, something doesn't seem right. We got to start looking at that thing, and if necessary, tear it up. You never hear that, and I don't understand why. I mean, how much more, whatever you want, how much more smoke to this fire do you need, Lee Elci? I'm speechless. Again, I'm troubled.
Yeah, I always want to go down this road with people that I have on as guests, right? So when I start down this road, I feel like I know I don't see their face a lot of times, Tony, but I feel like I'm talking and they're looking at me and their eyes are glazed over. Do you get what I'm saying when I talk about this?
I do.
And like, if I'm bringing it up to somebody, and then so I've even gotten to the point now where, because I was thinking about bringing this up yesterday with Proto, who's the chairman of the Republican Party. But I feel as though when I go down this road, it's like we just don't care. But we don't care about this. This is not a factor for us. When it should be the factor. Like corruption it should be like the lead story every day.
Well, there's corruption, and then there's the damage to society that is done by the corruption. These past few segments, I've been dealing with the latter. People are now getting hurt, and it's like, what are you doing? Again, it would be nice if you said something. I can fight myself, but it's like, give me something. I'm lost. Yeah. I really am.
No, that's whole. We know this from the beginning. This has been a colossal disappointment because there's a lot. You've given folks a lot of, pardon the pun, ammunition, and there's a lot of ammunition left in the bag still, Tony.
Well, and where's the real damage done in this state? I mean, I'm respectful of Bob Stefanowski when he says audit every agency. It's like, well, we never would have known, but for Lee Elci providing a venue here, we never would have known about what's happening in advanced CT to the extent that we could, or CERC, or 4CT. I mean, it's like these things are just little bylines and little, state-supported newspaper companies. There is a lot of crud happening in these things. Yeah. And, I've had the documents. I've put the documents on Twitter, and, I get a shrug of the shoulders. It's like, this is now starting to be seen. And because it needs to be seen.
Well, let me just say this, and again, you give me kudos, but you're the one that deserves the kudos. We gave you the forum, and you went out and did the work, and it's been exemplary work. And I'll tell you, you have posted this up on Twitter, Tony, and it's not easy. You actually have to really move the needle to get people to follow you and share what you've put out there and like what you put out there. And in a short period of time, you have gotten people to pay attention. So there are people out there paying attention to this.
I know. God bless them.
Yeah, no, and there are people that are incensed about this. It's remarkable to me that it just seems like in the places where you think people would take this information and, write another op-ed if you're a political person, or, bring it up in a news conference again and again and again. They don't. I don't know.
Well, silence is a particular thing. Many times silence is wisdom, but, silence carried to an extreme can be deafening. And that's the world that we're living in now. With your permission, if you think that stuff is horrible, I'm going to go really quickly. Realize we only have a few minutes.
Yeah.
To show you, if you really want to get angry, June 17th, the governor signed legislation enacting a comprehensive consumer data privacy law. I'm reading from his blurb. Most notably, the law requires companies to publicly share a privacy policy that tells consumers what data is theirs being collected and how the data is being used, and gives you an opt-out. And big bipartisan effort led by Senators Duff and Maroney. What is chilling to me and what is beyond aggravating is, guess who's exempt from this? Section 3. The provisions of Sections 1 to 11 inclusive, i.e. this Act, do not apply to any body, authority, board, bureau, commission, district, or agency of the state, or any political subdivision of the state. Number 2, do not apply to a nonprofit organizations. B, the following information and data is exempt from the provisions of Section 1 to 11, a whole paragraph, but largely it's protected health information, identifiable private information for purposes of federal policy, and I can't even really pronounce this. According to the guidelines issued by the International Council for Harmonization of Technical Requirements for Pharmaceuticals. So basically, and guess how this thing came down? There were 5 whole people in the House and the House and the Senate of the state who voted against this. Other than that, they pitched the shutout. They all cheered. They all danced behind the governor. 95% of these, of what's out there says this is wonderful. So what they're telling you, people, what they're telling me, the semaphore data is absolutely okay. The Boston Consulting deal, absolutely okay. The AMN Healthcare deal, absolutely okay. What they do in advanced CT with McKinsey, absolutely okay. And this is where people need to go to their representative. I don't want to sound like Howard Beale and Network, but, you got to go to them and say, what the bleepity blank are you looking at? Did you realize this? Did you know this? And what do you think about it? And how, in God's name, is this okay? Because it isn't.
So this is
wrong.
I just got word from somebody who was at the event last night. I guess Bob talked at length about semaphore last night. So he is beginning to push it. So I'm glad he's doing that, at least getting that word out on this stuff.
Listen, I'm I cheer for people doing the right thing, and I do believe in whosoever does it. It's not. Right now it's beyond people. It's really right and wrong.
Yeah. All right, Tony. Good stuff as always. I appreciate it.
Thank you, pal.
All right, man.
Everybody.
Tony D'Angelo, again, Tony D'Angelo 7. Check that out on Twitter. It's a great follow. All right, coming up, Liz Koranowitz in a bit. We'll talk to Christopher Healy down the road. Bruce Flax will